seem to have a culture where parents are scared. They're fearful. There's this tendency that our children are going to get hurt. It's a fast-paced world. We're not used to it. And instead of being fearful, though, I think as parents we have to realize that our children actually have a lot of potential. I talked to my two boys about the whole idea that, I don't expect you to do great things, but I expect you to do small things in great ways. And so what I'm looking at is building their capacity so that they actually have a sense of what is strong in them, what they can do, and to know how to express that in ways so that when they're faced with a challenge, they actually see the challenge as an opportunity to grow. So I actually see this idea of being fearful as detrimental, because if we try to protect our children, we actually don't prepare them for the future. They're going to stumble because they haven't had that opportunity to step outside their box, to do more than what they think they can do. And I believe that we need to start at a very young age, teaching our children that stress is part of life. Life is going to have bumps and bruises, but you can actually go through that and be a better person for it. And you can learn about yourself and develop that strength so that not only can you be respectful to yourself, you'll be respectful to those around you. I think the idea of parenting is not so much a prescribed thing. There's no manual out there. I'm sorry. Our kids grow up with amazingly different personalities. I've got one son who's an experiential learner. He'll come to me and say, "Dad, what happens when you eat a ladybug?" He's not asking me whether he's going to do it. He's already done it and he thinks he's going to die. My other son is a very sober, reserved, and you have a discussion with him and you don't tend to get a response. He'll think about it. He'll come back the next day and tell you whether you're right or wrong. So in my mind, parenting is about teachable moments. It's about having a lens and a perspective so that no matter what happens, you're looking for those opportunities to highlight the values and the behavior that you want in your children, and that you're always emphasizing those. Because in emphasizing what kids do right, they actually know what you're looking for. When we're trying to control their behavior, they actually start to develop a sense of fear, because they have this idea that if I act a certain way, then I'm accepted by my parents. And I don't want that for my two boys. I want them to know that they're already accepted. They're my sons. That never changes. I may work with them around their behavior, but they always have this idea that they're valued. And when kids are valued, they actually value what you have to offer. So you're always looking for those teachable moments to say, "I really liked what you did there." Because many kids don't even know what their strengths are. They don't know what their passions are. But as parents, we can facilitate that. We can guide it. And I think that's really what parenting is. We're coaches. And we're coaching them into understanding their greatness in such a way that they can give expression to it, rather than trying to control them and protect them from something. What I found through that journey is that there's no such thing as a bad parent. All parents want great things for their children, but sometimes they just haven't had experiences or they've been taught how to value their children. And so the real joy of parenting from this lens, or working with people from this lens, is the idea that everyone has the potential to experience that. They just need somebody who has the patience to guide them through it. Well, I think one of the biggest dangers we have as parents is that if kids are not exhibiting a behavior, we think everything's fine. And we do live in a fast-paced world. We're busy. We have parents with 2 incomes working, and they're doing the best to provide for their children. But they're missing those amazing opportunities to spend, so not so much quality time, it's just time with your children. And I really do feel that you have to be purposeful in your parenting. It doesn't mean that you always have to be there, but children need to have some predictability that there's going to be those times when they can actually talk from their heart to you. And that you're not there to lecture, you're not there to teach them something new, that they actually have the freedom to say, "This is what's important to me today, this is what's going on." And so yeah, developing rituals and opportunities to give children that freedom to speak from their heart is essential, because the research shows us that when children establish a relationship where they feel valued, their opinion counts, that they have the freedom to really talk about what's important to them, and they won't get labeled or judged by it, that those individuals actually will side with the value systems of their parents during their teenage years 9 times out of 10. So it's critical that parents develop that rapport in any way that they can, but develop those rituals, because they pay dividends. And my research really shows that kids who have that kind of relationship are very responsive to positive influence from other adults, because they've got that template to work from. If kids don't know how to relate to an adult, they'll start gravitating to their peers, because everybody wants to be valued, everybody wants to be nurtured, and they'll find a source, but they may find the source in an area that we're not looking for. Well, I think when I had the opportunity to talk to Terry and learn about Me and the Tree, I was certainly intrigued with it. because it was sort of talking about many things that I invite my parents that I work with into. It's this idea that you can have conversations with your children and it can be fun. It's not about dread. It's not about fear. It's actually about creating an opportunity for your kids to sort of say, you know, something, I look forward to it. I ask parents, you know, what is it that you enjoy about your children? And oftentimes it's difficult for them to, you know, they value their children, they love their children, but sometimes they say parenting is a challenge. Well, no, parenting is a joy. Parenting is a privilege. And it's how we invite our kids into a relationship, because it's about patience. And strength-based parenting is not for cowards. If you're going to start inviting your children to talk about what's real for them and in their heart, and you have these huddle times, you better be ready, because they will talk from their heart. And you may not always be prepared for what they're going to say. But the point is that I'd rather them say it to me in the huddle than to somebody else who may not know what to do with that information. I think anytime you do something, you should always do it with excellence. What I found intriguing about Me and the Tree is that, you know, kids at that age, 8 to 12 range, it's about creativity. It's about engaging them and things that they say is meaningful. And so I think Me and Tree's done a wonderful job creating caricatures, story, the opportunity for kids to think outside the norm.